What's up, Brozones? Welcome to the Ozone and welcome to yet another Journal 3 video deep dive series video episode. This is episode number 6 and we are going to be going through some really cool stuff today, I think, at least because we've been through all of Ford's initial stuff before he got sucked into the portal. Probably the wrong verb to use there. Then we have read all of Dipper's additions since he's been sucked into the portal. Once again, probably should stop using that stupid word. And then the next part that we're going to be reading is when Ford has come back after the events of Not What He Seems. And I wonder what he's going to write about. I wonder, is it going to be the rest of the events of Gravity Falls? Is it going to be about Weird Mageddon and who Bill Cipher actually is? Is it going to be secrets about the realm that he was in this entire time? That's something that I haven't even mentioned in these videos yet, but I have had it on my mind, where actually was Ford while all of this was happening? I have no idea. Let's get straight into the book. I'm actually recording this the day after the previous video dropped because I'm enjoying this way too much. I'm enjoying it so much, and the big part of this is I get to interact with you in the premieres and stuff, and we get to talk about all of these different things and all the secrets that I'm finding, and I'm finding it really fun. And something that I did mention last time is I want to do a live episode where we essentially decode everything that needs to be decoded. And it looks like there's some symbols here that, well, actually, no, I think that might be alchemy. But either way, there are lots of symbols around this book that we need to decode, and I don't want to just sit here doing it by myself for 5 hours. I would rather do it for 5 hours while you guys are in chat and stuff, and we can talk about funny stories and stuff. I think that would be some great content. But I've thought since then, and we talked about it in the premiere, that I should do a charity stream. Wouldn't that be amazing? I can probably put one together, and it would be amazing if I could find a particular charity that would help out endangered axolotls, because axolotls are, of course, endangered animals. Their populations are rapidly decreasing. So I'm thinking maybe I could do something along that sort of realm. I'm hoping that's in the realm of possibility. I'm using the word realm a lot today. Let's see if we can keep using that word and not the word I was talking about before. Okay. The other thing about the axolotl, and I'm sorry that I always have this 5-minute talking session before we actually get into the book, but the other thing is I did find out about the axolotl last episode, and I think I'm going to have a look through the Curse of the Time Pirates or something, the treasure, Time Pirate treasure, whatever. There's a book with time pirates in it, and that is mostly non-canon, but there is a part of it which is specifically canon. Alex Hirsch has said is canon, and apparently it's got something to do with the axolotl. So I will be going through that in a way soon. I'm just figuring out how I can do it. So let me know if you have any ideas in the comments as well, but that should come very soon. Anyway, let's read this. I'm so excited. Against all odds, I'm back. Here we have Ford coming through the portal. Sick shot. I already know this is going straight on the thumbnail. I always come across pictures in this book and I'm like, there's no way this isn't going on the thumbnail. It's just so cool. And guess what else is back? The freaking stupid text. Oh my gosh. I can do Caesar ciphers, I can do Visionaires, I can do A1Z26s, but Ford's handwriting, hell fucking no. Okay, sorry, I don't usually swear in these videos. I never thought in 1,000 years that I would hold this book again. The weight of it in my hands and the smell of its parchment whisks my memory back to the tragic accident that forever changed my life. Although I was not around to record it, 30 years ago I got into a fight with my brother and was knocked through my very own interdimensional portal into a universe beyond imagination. The last 3 decades have been frightening, exciting, cruel, and strange, and as I find myself back in my old study, writing in my own journal, It is hard to shake the feeling that I have awoken from a bizarre 30-year dream. How is it that I am back? It turns out that despite my warnings and the possibility of global catastrophe, Stanley managed to reactivate the portal and bring me back to my home dimension. This was something we talked about in those episodes, right? Or like Tale of Two Stands was very effective at this entire thing, like showing the relationship between the brothers. Obviously, it was a big accident that Ford fell through the portal, etc. But it was like there was an argument between them, and they were being twin brothers, essentially. They were just being twins. They were fighting as twins do, and it was just unfortunate that it all happened. And you could tell that Stanley felt so bad, and he felt so bad that he picked up all the books that Ford had, and he started reading about physics, quantum physics, freaking portal opening books, like perpetual motion. I'm sure he's gained a wealth of knowledge trying to bring his brother back, and it's so sweet seeing him do that. And Stanley is actually like one of the, I don't know what title to give him, but I want to say one of the greatest characters and well like designed and developed characters in television, because he has so many reasons for the things that he does. He has a lot of conflicts and like the monologues of his own head. Like I just feel like there is so much depth to his character, and same with a lot of other characters in Gravity Falls, but especially Stanley, like trying to bring his brother back this entire time. It's really, really effective. While his intentions might have been pure, he was just as careless bringing me back as he was knocking me through in the first place. He destroyed the portal in the process, risked endangering the entire fabric of reality, and even found himself the target of a federal manhunt by the US government, a logical progression from his days in the principal's office. If it weren't for Fiddleford's memory, Ray, I'd likely be writing from some secret government prison by now. Fortunately, as far as the government is concerned, our encounter never happened. Trigger and Powers will likely get deja vu the next time they hear the words Gravity Falls, and probably nothing more. Right, because I remember... Oh, that is how they did it. I remember now. I remember they used the memory gun, but I forgot about the totems. And they have like this technology in it that will send out electromagnetic waves, I guess. That's really cool. They have like electric diagrams here. So obviously you have like your anodes or cations and anions and stuff like that. Or I mean, I mean your positives and negatives charges, batteries and things like that. It's cool. I love the level of detail in this book. It's really good. I should not dwell on the past. There will be a time enough. Oh my gosh. The freaking writing. I need to just slow down. There will be time enough to ruminate on my years spent traveling through the dimensional rift and the strange things I saw there. First, I must focus on the present and on the problems created by a man who is responsible for my latest twist of fate. You also kind of just, once that's happened, like you've spent 30 years in another dimension and you just come back, you have to savor the moment. You really have to live. Like you have to, oh, wow. My brother Stanley, hero or idiot? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. When I first saw him, I assumed I had once again found myself in an alternate parallel dimension. Gone was the stubborn, mullet-haired, frost-bitten vagabond who had pushed me into the portal many years earlier, replaced by a wrinkly carnival barker with my father's face, fez, and girdle. I'd spent the last 30 years contemplating what I might do if I saw Stanley again. Would I even be able to look him in the eye after what he did? Would I apologize for shutting him out of my life? As it turned out, instinct took over and I punched him right in the face. I feel kind of bad about that. Face inherited dad's nose and mom's untrustworthy tongue. 2. Gut. I've spent the last 30 years keeping up an extensive exercise and diet regimen. Stanley hasn't. Number 3, suit. Dad's suit, which he gave me after graduation. He thought I'd wear it for my wedding. I thought I'd wear it to accept an award. Instead, Stanley has used it to trick tourists and sell keychains. Number 4, fez. Dad's hat. He never did tell us about the Royal Order of the Holy Mackerel. Number 5, machinery. Operated my portal like a monkey pretending to be a mechanic. Half of the instruments are held together with duct tape. Yes, despite the extra pounds and wrinkles, Stanley is still the irresponsible, shortcut-loving, overgrown child I remember from the past. Most unbelievable, his first thought upon seeing me again was to expect a thank you after destroying my life. Even worse, he spent the last 30 years avoiding the law by faking his own death, impersonating me, and scamming the local townsfolk with a money-making ruse so absurd it would even make my profit-loving father blush. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And it turns out he's become a fraud for a living. I nearly fainted when I saw what he had done to the mystery shack. That's really funny. Unbelievable. Once a haven of scientific study, the cabin I built with my grant money has been transformed by Stanley over the years into a hokey freak show that mocks everything about the study of the paranormal. Number 1, a sign. Designed to catch attention, infested with owls and, for some reason, a goat. I find it funny the S, or not funny, but I find it weird the S isn't fallen down. But yeah, I guess he's just imagining it as like a perfect version of itself. Golf cart, clearly stolen from a nearby Santa's village. Tourists. I chose this spot for seclusion, and now there are rhyming signs advertising it for 10 miles up the highway. That's funny. Signage. There are legal disclaimers in almost impossible to see fine print painted up and down nearly every entryway. It's a wonder Stanley hasn't been sued yet. Number 5. Weather vane. The weather vane makes no sense. W, H, A, and T aren't directions. What does that even mean? I mean, true, I did question that when we first got into the series. I'm like, why is the weather vane saying what? That makes no sense. How are you going to use that for directions? Everything has changed. My inventing room, now a hall of ludicrous taxidermies. I mean, what the heck is Hampire? That's terrifying. My thinking parlor, now a man cave. Tackier than a TGI Apple Rucker's family restaurant. My T-Rex skull is being used as a coffee table. Even my storage room is now an overpriced gift shop, more cluttered than Pine's Pawns. Sorry, I got something at the back of my throat. A tourist asked me if she could get a discount on a Burpin Stanford Pines figurine, since it wasn't burping loud enough. These are the bane of my existence. I gathered them up and burned them immediately. Walking around my old lab, I feel like a dead man's ghost haunting a strange funhouse mirror version of his past life. I resolved to take back my home and rebuild the life that Stanley has taken from me. But I must wait until the summer is over, for the sake of summertime newcomers I find living and working here. My impressions of them are as follows. Oh, really? Oh, cool. Cool. Okay. Yeah, so we got all the merch here and stuff. Something he said resonated with me. Oh yeah, walking around my old lab, I feel like a dead man's ghost haunting a strange funhouse mirror version of his past life. That's so imaginative and so very well written out. I think, at least. I think it's really well done there. Because that is exactly how it would feel. You know, you have your own home. You're completely fine in your own home. Your brother comes over. You get sent through a portal. You come out the other side, and 30 years have passed, and you're now just like in a place that seems familiar, but like there's a lot of things wrong with it because somebody else has been living here for 30 years, and you just look around and it just feels like old memories that have been like lost to time slowly, and like I feel like poets use it a lot very well when it's like, especially in like the poem Ozymandias. I mean, it's not the same at all, and it's something that a lot of schools teach. I know, so it's like a very boring poem to pick out, but in Ozymandias, of course, it's literally just about a statue, but it's not just about a statue. It's about the erosion of the statue in this isolated desert, and the fact that over time nature is taking its toll and it's losing itself. It's losing its definition and what actually made it meaningful in a way. So it's really, really this resonated with me because it I don't know, it's very melodic, I think, in its nature. I think that's really cool. Okay, so it looks like Stanford is going to be talking about the different characters. So this is cool. What is this? Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. Zeus. Nope. Seuss. I actually have seen another person's reaction series, and they kept calling Seuss Zeus. And I was so annoyed. I just had to switch it off. I had to. Upon first seeing this specimen, I believed him to be one of the hairless gopher people of the dimension Rodentus 7. Okay. So, like, rodent. I was shocked to discover that he is actually a human adult man. Quarantined him for testing due to exposure to partial radiation. Findings. Number 1, hair growth appears in strange, awkward patches. Is he a man? Is he a baby? Number 2, evidence of autolysis suggests that he survived a zombie bite. Oh! When I brought this up, he laughed and said, "That was one crazy party, dude." Yeah, so that was episode 1 of season 2. Number 3, giggles when prodded. Number 4, seems to have consumed a nearly infinite amount of pizza. Funny callbacks. That, of course, is impossible. I may need to recheck my instruments. The strangest thing about him is his utter idolization of my brother Stanley. That mark on his shirt is so familiar. Huh? What? That mark on his shirt is so familiar. You mean the question mark? Is that question mark, like, I'm seeing this question mark over here, but like, is that question mark something that we've seen in the book before, and maybe the shirts were inspired by that question mark? Like, that would be insane. I'm thinking of like the page, the page, the one that's like trust no one. Is it from that, maybe? I don't know what else it could be. It was here, right? Trust no one? Yeah, here. No, because there's an exclamation mark. I don't know. Oh, I know what it's from. It's from the Zodiac. Okay. Yeah. Because in the Zodiac, Zeus is represented by a question mark. Okay. And, of course, Ford knows about the Zodiac. How does he know about the Zodiac? Or, like, what? Where did the Zodiac come from? That's my question as well. I guess the intro screen shows that it would be from one of Stanford's journals because it has the same, like, textured background and the same kind of drawings that it has in this book. So, obviously, it's come from one of the journals. But, like, I would love to know the origin story of the Zodiac. Maybe it's from one of the previous journals. So it's not in Journal 3. But that's interesting. Yeah. Where are we? Okay. Yeah, I can't believe it took me a while to get that. Oh, and here's Wendy with her ice pack. Yeah, so the kind of same thing here, like the theme of the Zodiac. We're seeing him go through all of them. So Wendy Corduroy, I recognize the name instantly. Stanley's other hired helper is the teenage daughter of boyish Dan Corduroy, or manly Dan. the local lumberjack who helped construct my lab back in the 1980s. Oh, back in the 1980s, he would have been boyish Dan, but now he's turned into manly Dan. I hear he's grown quite a bit since then. Sue said, and also not just manly Dan, right? Dan Corduroy. But the like the ghost as well, that the ghost lumberjack as well that he was writing about. Or I guess just the 10 categories of ghosts he was writing about while he was staying at Dan's. I think that's what happened, at least. I might be misremembering, but Susan apparently told her everything about me by the time we met. She was so unfazed by me, by seeing me, that she simply said, "Sup, Stan2," and started casually typing to her friends on one of the computing phones that seemed so popular in the present. Yeah, I forgot that joke where Seuss found out about Stan's brother, and then I think in the post-credit scene, or just the credit scene, he was like, Wendy, I gotta tell you something. Seuss, it's 3 a.m. What now? There's 2 Seusses, 2 Stans. Yeah, it was really funny watching him explain the entire story, and Wendy's like, She just didn't care at all. Computing phone, aka iPhone 2. This gadget can do everything from sending a picture of a winking cat face to whining a celebrity's career in seconds. Whining, ruining. Sorry, it looks like a W. You cannot lie. That looks like a W. What? I gotta see the thick lines up here instead of this, which is a thin line. Yeah. I'll stick to my typewriter and rotary dials. Thanks. What are those things? Wendy complimented. I'm joking, by the way. Wendy complimented my turtleneck in a way that didn't seem sincere. I worry that she is appreciating me ironically. That ice bag. Am I losing my head? Mabel Pines. Oh my gosh. Oh, look, there's a secret code here. Interesting. What's that going to say? Mabel Pines. At least there is some good news. I am a great uncle. Or grunkle, as Stanley seems oddly insistent on saying. Apparently, Sherman Pine's grandkids have been staying with Stanley for the summer. It's hard to believe that the parents would trust these kids with Stanley. They clearly thought he was me. I was instantly charmed by Mabel's enthusiastic attitude, although a little hesitant about her utter fascination with my 6th finger. She has already started making me finger puppets despite my request for her not to. Okay. Oh, where's Dipper's page? Oh, Dipper's coming up. I really want to see Dipper's page. What does he think of Dipper? What does he truly think? After getting her to calm down for a moment, I eventually subjected Mabel to the same testing as Seuss and found her to be an odd specimen as well. When I asked her to say ah, she screamed for a whole minute and coughed up glitter. Not normal. Number 2, shaves the family sweet tooth. Shares the family sweet tooth. Not shaves, that would be horrible. Diet seems to consist solely of items with the word gummy in them. I will need to discuss nutrition with Stanley. Number 4, apparently knits a new sweater every day. I may request her help in repairing mine. Number 4, I gave her several different Rorschach, I know what this is, but I can't say it, tests to make sure she wasn't psychologically damaged by our experience with the portal. Here's how she interpreted the ink blot designs. Yeah, this is the ink blot test. I just don't know how to say it. Rorschach? I don't know. Bunny. Lollipop. Friendship one. Oh, I love it. I love the naivete that Mabel has. It's really funny. These interpretations are unusual. I may need to do further psychological testing. This is really out of nowhere. Like, this just doesn't fit in. Stands out a little bit. Stands out. Funny. Dipper Pine. Oh my God. Look. Heart rate. Twins run in the family, although unfortunately that is the only family resemblance I see in the overly eager, unusually sweaty 12-year-old. Every time I made direct eye contact with this fretful child, he started gagging like he was going to throw up. And when I tested his heart rate for side effects of dementia fever, I found it going mile a minute. The only thing I could glean from his stammering was that, shockingly, he was the one to find Journal 3's hiding place in the forest. I'm not sure how accessing my journal was even possible. The only explanation is that the circuitry must have been unstable over time and perhaps water damage loosened the machinery. Okay. Although I am grateful to have my journal back, a quick look through reveals he has been treating this important scientific document as his own personal diary and generally scribbling over my work with his own notations. I will have to review when I have a moment to survey the damage. Observations. Number 1. Constantly sweating. Perhaps he takes after Stanley. Number 2. Fidgeting suggests he may still be recovering from shock of portal contact. Number 3. Very thin limbs. Almost noodly. Were his bones weakened by exposure to portal radiation? I love how Stanford's brain works, because he's been trapped for 30 years. And of course, he's the smart student from school. He's the smart twin. So I love how he overanalyzes everything, just like me. Rank odor clearly hasn't bathed recently. Stanley should never be put in charge of children. Number 5, refused to take off his hat. That hat, this is far more than a coincidence. The sense of deja vu I get looking at these symbols is overwhelming. Ha 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 ha. Dun dun dun. The cave writing I saw many years ago said that these symbols and others... Wait, the cave writing? Huh? Okay. So there's been like inscriptions on a cave, like that foretold Weirdmageddon and stuff. Strange. The cave writing I saw many years ago said that these symbols and others had the power to bring about great change, but so many prophecies and legends turned out to be Bill's lies. Could this just be another one of Bill's tricks? How well did the ancient people of Gravity Falls truly understand Bill's power? And what are the odds that this randomly assorted group could have anything to do with my destiny? I must not give this too much thought. The time for ancient superstitions is past. I must focus on scientific ways to address the troubles I fear are coming. It's really interesting how, because Gravity Falls is one of those series where, you're only getting half the show if you're just sitting there and watching it. The other half of the show is absolutely decoding the codes, looking out for secrets, rewatching the show to find the secrets and to understand the parallels and to understand the main overarching story that's actually happening. And in doing all of that, you actually get a really, really comprehensive story of Gravity Falls, especially if you're reading things like Journal 3. Which really chronologically goes through the series, and I'm really enjoying doing that. But even with all of that, and this is the thing that I love about the series, and the thing that I think I used to love about Five Nights at Freddy's, but I think they've overdone it now, is the fact that even though most of the timeline, I know most of the timeline, I think it's pretty easy to put together. We literally see the events happen on screen, and we see all of it in laid out in the journal. Even though we know all of the events and we can put together a very comprehensive story, there are still hooks to latch onto. What the hell was Bill saying at the end of the series? Axolotl? Who the hell is the axolotl, right? Second thing, cave writing. Who the hell are the ancient people of Gravity Falls? What do they have to do with all the mysteries of Gravity Falls? Are they the origin of all of the weird cryptids and stuff that are happening in Gravity Falls? Number 3, the portal. That never got explained. Where the hell has Stanford been this entire time? There are loads of things that we can latch onto and we can still theorize about, but it doesn't have a huge impact on the show, right? It's kind of like... I wouldn't say a tangent, because that would imply it's not that important, but it's definitely a section that you can a section of the story that you can keep going further into and look further into, and that's something that I think is very, very underrated in television shows and media, because I think that is especially how you get a community engaged in your show. is you have these secrets and you have these plot lines and theories and stuff in other places. I've been watching. I actually haven't watched season 2, but well, I've watched half of season 2, but I've been watching Severance recently. Fantastic show for that same reason. There's obviously a main plot line, and a lot of it is going to be concluded and wrapped up. But obviously, there's so many other questions that you can latch onto, and you can think, okay, how does this connect with that, and that connect with that, and what is that character doing at this time, and why do they look suspicious, and why is this here at this timestamp in this? Like, there's a lot of different things that you can latch onto. I keep saying that, but Severance is a very great show as well. Go and watch it if you haven't. I think it just finished season 2. But yeah, that's the thing I'm loving about Gravity Falls is even though we finished the show and we're about to finish a book, basically, there's still going to be a lot of things we can talk about. There's still a lot of talking points. The Rift. I was dismantling the portal for good and salvaging what parts I could for future experiments when I made a horrifying discovery. Although I thought the dimensional gateway was permanently closed, I found at my feet a small tear between worlds, sparking and hovering a foot above the ground. In a panic, I scooped it up in a mason jar like it was a mosquito, and was able to create a temporary containment unit. It was just as I feared, apparently. Stan's reckless use of the machine overtaxed it and ripped a tear in the dimensional fabric, the same way an overheated oven might burn a hole in kitchen linoleum. I had to contain it. Rift, a glittering window into the chaos I thought I'd escaped forever. If you hold it up to your ear, it sounds like mocking laughter. Like Bill Cipher, like ha 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 ha. A glittering window. I love the wording here. A glittering window. Like that makes me think like you can see through it, but there is still somewhat of a barrier holding it back, but it can be shattered and it's nothing, and the two worlds collide. A glittering window into the chaos I thought I'd escape forever. So was he in a portal of chaos? Like, is because obviously this has come from the portal, and from opening the portal again, he's created a rift in space and time. But yeah, this also reminds me of Fortnite. I'm sorry to say that now, but it reminds me of that Fortnite item where you shake it and then it creates a rift in the sky, and then you can now like parachute and kill your enemies and stuff. Sorry, that was a really weird tangent. Containment dome, a house for the rift. Interesting, we're talking about windows and we're talking about houses. Admittedly, I was inspired by the snow globes in Stanley's gift shop. I must keep this away from Mabel, considering how many snow globes I saw her break in an hour. What? Base, I could really use Fiddleford's help in stabilizing this. I wonder what's happened to him after all these years. When I asked, everyone abruptly changed the subject. Oh. Okay. The path before me is clear. The world is safe from Bill Cipher as long as the rift remains contained. But I fear my device will not be strong enough to hold these cosmic forces at bay forever. I must remain vigilant and stand watch, lest trouble arise again. And if I've learned anything from a life of misfortune, it's that this is a burden I must shoulder alone. When I tried to share my burdens with Fiddleford, it destroyed our friendship. And it took its toll on his mental health. When I tried to share my burdens with my brother, he knocked me into the portal, separating me from my home for 30 years. And after all those years in exile, living across multiple dimensions, there are precious few beings that I feel comfortable calling a friend. What are the odds that in this one dimension I can find someone who understands me on what I've been through? No. The life before me is one of constant solitary vigilance against the unimaginable insanity that is Bill Cipher. I brought him into this dimension and I'll take him out if it's the last thing I do. Cool. Okay, so this is about revenge, I guess. This is a revenge story, absolutely. Okay. This is a really cool image to include here as well. Obviously, we know that Bill and Ford played dimensional chess or whatever. And I mean, it would have been funnier if it was a king, because that's how you signify that the game is over. But it's a pawn that's fallen over, which is really funny. I can't believe I'm writing this, but today I actually had fun. My grandnephew Dipper literally fell out of the sky and reminded me that even in dire circumstances, one must take joy in the simple pleasures of life. In this case, that simple pleasure is my favourite board game of all time, Dungeons, Dungeons and More Dungeons by Bullway Games, copyright 1974. Stanley always mocked my love of this game, and even some of my colleague friends called it girlfriend repellent. But apparently Dipper shares my love of a good game. He's setting up the game as I write this. Wait till he sees my infinity-sided die. Available in infinite colours, but only 2 sizes. What? Infinite colours? Yeah, but we can't see all of them. Infinite sides mean infinite outcomes, but you'd be surprised how often you roll a 4. This thing has saved my life 3 times and endangered it around 20. Exists in a state of quantum uncertainty. Don't stare at it for too long unless you want a headache. I was about to say it. It's giving me a little bit of a eye strain. One time I rolled it and the sky permanently changed colour. Luckily, that was in the land of the blind dimension and no one noticed, although their one-eyed king did seem annoyed. Wait, the land of the blind dimension. This is crazy. It feels like he's just making things up at this point. Obviously, it's too dangerous to use in a simple game of D&D and more D, but what could be the harm in just showing it to Dipper? Well, the harm in showing it to Dipper turned out to be quite large. During one of the games, my hot-headed brother got his hands on it and accidentally conjured this jerk, Probabilitor the Wizard. Full name, Probabilitor Pythagoras Decimaldor the 3.1415. That's pi, of course. So it's PPD the pi. Claims that his staff is powered by pure math, but I'm guessing it's just a lot of D batteries. Oh my gosh, guys. I went to uni and I did maths at uni. And the thing that I wanted to do at uni was pure math. I wanted to do pure math, and pure math is essentially just like the purest of maths, where it's like it's literally like 2 + 2 is 4. Well, no, I don't mean it like that, like it was simple. It's not simple, but like it doesn't have units, it doesn't have application at all. It's stuff like matrices. I mean, matrices has a ton of applications, but we in the very first analysis video that we did, we saw those matrices. That's pure maths in a way. That's God, it's been so long since I've done maths. That's like real and complex analysis. You can use that for as well. But pure maths is like think of physics. It's the opposite of physics. It's like it's not for the real world. It's like it's just the fundamentals of maths, of numbers, how numbers work, rather than how things work explained by numbers and stuff. So yeah, I wanted to do pure maths, but obviously that was like one module of 4. The others were like statistics and probability, and I didn't want to do that stupid stuff. And then we had like mechanics, which is physics, and then the other one we had was I don't remember much about it, but there was a lot of coding involved. And one thing that I did have to do was prove that 1 + 1 was 1 using like I'm so stupid. I just said 1 + 1 is 1. I had to prove that 1 + 1 is 2. And you have to use like the very, very, very fundamentals of mathematics and how like sets work, and empty sets within empty sets and stuff creates numbers. It's really interesting, but it was so complicated. I just liked the pure math. I just liked working with numbers. Anyway, mainly makes annoying math jokes. He said algebra cadabra at one point, and everybody booed loudly. This is me. This is basically me. Believes that eating brains makes you smarter, which is really dumb for anyone who never shuts up about having a master's degree. True. Out of all the wizards I've ever encountered, and that includes Bandolph the Boring from the Unremarkable dimension, this one was the most insufferable. So he's been to multiple dimensions. His henchman is much too good looking to be pure elf. They are typically much shorter and way uglier. His ugly elf dad must have married up. Weakness, blaster gun, being outplayed. Okay. Oh my gosh, I remember this now. I remember all of this. Oh wow, this is cool. I love... There must be a Legend of Zelda reference here. There has to be. Okay. As formidable as Probabilitor seemed, I'm proud to say that the Pines family was able to beat the wizard at his own game. Stan's contribution was, of course, to cheat our way to victory, but Mabel's disturbing, extraordinary creation proved to be invaluable as well. When we needed a means of escape, she thought of something called a centaur tar, or a centaur tar, which is actually quite incredible if you don't pause to try to figure out how it eats, among other things. I'm at least glad with this shape. I'm at least glad it's not a centaur tar. Anyway, we'll move past that. But after I fought ogres and elves alongside him, it was Dipper who impressed me the most. Pondering our adventure and the bond we shared over the game, I finally took it upon myself to read the entries he'd made in this journal. Oh, he's only just reading the entries? I don't mean this lightly when I say I was floored by what I saw. This is what we wanted. I wanted his big reaction to everything that Dipper has written about. I was floored by what I saw. Instead of the aimless aggression of a typical adolescent, I discovered the same obsession with the supernatural as myself. Page after page I read on as he navigated beasts, evaded villains, defeated ghosts twice, and even took down a gremloblin. Sure, he's rough around the edges and prone to romantic distraction. But he possesses bravery, cleverness, imagination, and drive far beyond his years. I love that they mentioned the gremloblin here specifically, because I think it was the gremloblin page where Dipper is like, if the author saw this, I'm sure he'd be so proud of me. And we get that full circle moment again, like I was saying in the last episode. More surprising still, he has a birth deformity just like me. To say that I felt like I was reading about a younger version of myself is an understatement. I always thought I was the odd member of the family, but perhaps I truly have found a kindred spirit. I presume that there was no one on this earth who I could consider an ally and a friend. I may have been wrong. Trusting in someone new is not coming easily. I told Dipper about the rift, but when he asked me where I've been for the last 30 years, I had no idea how to begin on what to reveal. I've been trying not to think about it, but perhaps writing about some of it here will help me get my thoughts in order. Perhaps it's time to finally reveal my journey. Oh my god! This is what we wanted! Oh boy, guys, this is going to be insane. It's going to be insane. Okay, my journey. Oh, I assumed there would be more text here because it would be a double page spread. My journey, the Nightmare Realm. Okay. This is insane. This is really cool. I remember those first moments after I was cast into the portal like it was yesterday. The sudden feeling of weightlessness, the helpless terror, knowing that I would soon face whatever mysterious horror had driven Fiddleford to madness. As I felt myself being sucked away from my home, now he's saying it. As I felt myself being sucked away from my home, a dimension I would come to learn is referred to in the multiverse as 46 apostrophe backslash. Why 46? I held my breath and accepted that this could be the end. As luck would have it, it was only the beginning. I found myself stuck through the door to the place Bill had designed the portal to access, a place he screamingly refers to as the Nightmare Realm. This, I mean, if anything's going in the thumbnail, it's going to be all of this stuff. This is beautiful. I love this page. Oh my god. This is going in the thumbnail for sure. For sure, boy. Look at this. This is beautiful. Oh my god. And that goes onto that page. Oh boy, I love it. I love it. So, hang on a second. So this is, and I hate to make another Loki reference, but like in the TVA, we were told about like the, like parallel universes and stuff. Are all of these strands different parallel universes? And like it all leads to the center, the nightmare realm or something? Like, is this like a hub for the multiverse? That's insane if it is. And this drawing is so cool. I cannot get enough of this. I want this to be my desktop background or something. Obviously, that's really sad, but I do. It's just really cool. I would buy this for my wall. I would. It's so cool. The dimension between all dimensions. As I say, the in-between space. The king of nightmares. Gateway to other worlds. It's as I say. Okay. So what we're seeing here, and it would have been easier if this was on a double spread, but you see here, this is the portal, right? This is the portal that he's being sucked through. This is on a branch, and this branch is in the middle of the page, and it's coming up here and going straight into here. So one of these branches leads to a universe, and all of the other branches here leads to different worlds. So there's a whole multiverse. Wait. So are we saying Bill is the king of the king of nightmares? So he's the king of nightmares from the nightmare realm. So he wants to take, what does he want to do? He wants to conquer the multiverse, maybe? Something like that. My question is, where does the axolotl fit into this? Because this really feels like he is a multi-dimensional god. So why would he be praying to like another god above him? So maybe I've got the axolotl thing wrong, but it definitely sounded like he was talking to a god, right? I don't know. We'll find more out about the axolotl soon, I promise. Swimming through a gravity-free sea of lightning and swirling colours, I reached into my pocket for a spare pair of glasses, always handy considering how often I break them, and found myself staring at quite literally a living nightmare. Bill's universe is not exactly a dimension, but rather a boiling, shifting intergalactic foam between dimensions. A lawless, unstable crawl space between worlds that only the strangest and most unknowable beings call home. The portal closed behind me, and I found myself trapped there, but possibly for eternity. Before I had a moment to properly panic over my fate, I realized that I was hovering before Bill, who perched on a bizarre throne made of optical illusions, flanked by an army of strange and shadowy beasts. Okay. Look who... okay, I have to... I'm gonna have to do his voice. What's a line that he says? Why can't I think of a line? I mean, I'll just do the default of like, Gravity Falls, it's good to be back. Okay. Look who decided to pay me a visit, he shrieked, his voice echoing through infinity. Care for a game of intergalactic chess? This time, you're the pawn. He snapped his fingers, and one of his beasts, a 60-foot-tall ball of fingers and teeth, let out a howl like a humpback whale and charged at me, fingers and teeth wiggling and gnashing. I managed to hide behind an asteroid field in the nick of time as the monstrosity passed me by, and I swam through the air in a panic as multiple beasts tore through the space rocks, searching for me. Fleeing for my life, I miraculously managed to make shelter in the crater of a large passing asteroid as the monsters swarmed by. Hidden deep within the recesses of the stony caverns, I could hear Bill's shrill voice. Sixer wants to play hide and seek. First one to find him and bring him to me gets their own galaxy. That's not his voice. It's more like, Sixer wants to play hide and seek. Oh my god, that's so much better. First one to find him and bring him to me gets their own galaxy. It was followed by the manic laughter of creatures large and small racing off to locate me. I was so crazed from fatigue and rage that my first impulse was to give myself up to Bill so I could curse him right to his face. Fortunately, before I could do anything crazy, I discovered that I was sharing my cave with a shivering family of intergalactic refugees. The refugees. Okay. So this is all new stuff. Like, we've never heard of any of this before. This is the first time that Ford's actually, like, properly drawn himself. Like, a detailed version of himself that's not just a silhouette. Huddled around a strange, glittering purple fire, these bandaged, war-torn creatures beckoned me near and told me their tale. Apparently they were asteroid miners whose ship was sucked into a dimensional wormhole, and they found themselves lost here like me. When things in the multiverse go missing, they usually end up here. When I mentioned Bill, they shrieked and covered their ears like I had said something obscene. This also makes a lot of sense because there's that one Easter egg that I've heard people talk to me about, and like obviously I never would have gotten it, but it's actually a crossover with Rick and Morty. Is that there was a point where I think a book and a pen and like a coffee mug or something actually fell through the portal. I think it was in like it was like one of the ends of the episodes or something with Stan with the portal, and it was like a teaser for the next few episodes. But that portal ended up being in Rick and Morty, and you can actually see the items fly out. So that would imply that there is that multiverse, and this is how it all works through this kind of hub. I cannot get enough of this page. This is such a great page. Wow, okay. Their leader, a hairy, snaggletooth mix between a guinea pig and a pirate, explained that my old muse is actually one of the most feared beings in the entire multiverse. I don't know why I said multiverse that time, but there you go. Bill took over the Nightmare Realm as a hideout for him and his cronies, but because this place is lawless, without any consistent physics or rules, it is eventually fated to self-destruct. This is why Bill seeks a new, more stable dimension to take over, and a foolish mind willing to let him in. A foolish mind like mine. I explained to them my history with Bill and my desire to destroy him for what he's done. Although they were skeptical, the creatures took pity on me and offered help. They gave me one of their dimensional translators and some rations. Dimensional translator, model K127X. Alright? I asked them the odds of ever making my way home, and they said they were slim. So a plan began to form in my mind. I would travel from dimension to dimension, learning what I could about Bill, his weaknesses, his secrets. I'd gain my strength, bide my time, and once I was ready, I would return to the Nightmare Realm and destroy him once and for all. I might never see home again, but at least I could save the multiverse from his wrath and wreak vengeance for the life he stole from me. The creatures cheered me, shouting, "No way!" The creatures cheered me, shouting, "Praise the axolotl!" I have no idea what that means, and waved goodbye as I left their asteroid and swam to the nearest wormhole, casting my fate to the wind to discover what new worlds await me. What? I was not expecting that. We got an axolotl mention in Journal 3. I mean, what I will say is it's crazy that we did that axolotl stuff last episode. Imagine if I hadn't seen that yet and I just saw Praise the Axolotl. I would have just been like, okay, it's just like a really weird cult going on, but moving on. But no, there is a bigger connection with the Axolotl and Bill Cipher. And I when I initially heard about the Axolotl, I think I said in the last video that it almost feels like Bill is maybe acting as an avatar for the Axolotl. Like the Axolotl is able to live in the form of an interdimensional triangle. But maybe that's not the case. I am so confused with this axolotl thing, and I'm really intrigued to hear more about it. That's crazy that that's there. Okay. My travels. So I embarked on a 30-year adventure, a perilous journey through the multiverse to learn what I could about Bill in the hopes of defeating him. In the process, I had many experiences that my younger self might have described as swashbuckling, if not for the constant nausea that accompanies dimension hopping. It feels almost as though I lived 100 different lives in those dimensions. I travelled with bandits, learned to speak 13 languages, got in a fist fight with a talking chair, and got tattoos with a tribe of octopus-armed warrior piglets. Why did I get this tattoo? Hey now, I'm an all-star. What? That's so weird. That's so weird. Why? Why is that there? Why is there a random Shrek reference? Hey now, I'm an all-star. Get your game on. I'll play. All that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold. Shooting star? Mabel? Smash mouth. Why? These tattoos rank among my most serious regrets. Let's just say I wear this turtleneck for a reason. I studied ancient texts, compared notes with scholars, dined with monsters, and was briefly made king of the finger dimension until a 7-fingered man showed up and I lost my status. The finger dimension. Please, heaven, God. Please don't take me to the finger dimension. I don't want to go to the finger dimension. Okay. Cool. Interesting. This is like 8-bit. So we need to decode this later, I guess. Thanks to my quick wit and dimensional translator, I was able to talk my way into and out of food and shelter, although a number of dimensions consider me an outlaw to this day. Ironically, in the multiverse, I'm just as wanted as Stanley. But my crimes had a noble purpose. I only stole supplies to work on my quantum destabilizer, which proved to be one of the most difficult inventions I've ever worked on. To fully chronicle my adventures would take 10 volumes, but here's a catalogue of some of the most outlandish dimensions I saw. The M dimension. I love this one. No, my niece Mabel did not draw this. This is what it really looks like. Funny. This looks like a code, but I know it's probably not. Ugh. Writing about this place after all these years has brought back to life the extreme frustration I felt while I was trapped here. The whole reality offended my ordered and scientific mind. I mean, how does it even make sense for a vacuum to be designed like this? What are these trousers? Why are there 3 parts to these trousers? Imagine trying to put that on every morning. It's just like, okay, here's the first part, one leg. Okay, next part. Other leg. Oh, where's the other part? Where's the middle part? If you think that's dumb, try looking at their alphabet. It's just the letter M 26 times. Why does a universe like this exist? Why did I have to spend time here? Why did they keep telling me to Mave a wonderful mime? That's like that one meme that's like number 10 Burger King foot lettuce. somebody made a parody of it where they just have every word beginning with B. It's like Bumber Bing, Burger Bing, but Bettis, but best being Ubani, but Burger Bing Burger. It's the best thing ever. Even though I was feeling suicidal, oh my god. Disney, why have you let that in? Even though I was feeling suicidal after just 10 minutes there, at least they were relatively kind to me, considering how strange I must have looked to them. Not like the people in the symbol dimension. Those guys are... I love these jokes. Oh, this is so funny. Yeah, they did a really good job with this book. not just for the lore, but for the jokes. It's so funny. The do-over dimension, also known as the yo-yo dimension and the go insane because nothing gets done dimension, the last name being the most accurate but the least poetic. This is a world where time moves both forward and backwards in a seemingly random manner. So, that's actually really funny. So you may have a really crummy week, but then get a chance to do it all over again. Or, just as you complete high school, you may live backward all the way to kindergarten. Oh, this is great. I was thinking, as we were hearing about, like, there being different dimensions, imagine a Gravity Falls spin-off, which takes place in another dimension. But because it's a Gravity Falls spin-off, like, all of Gravity Falls is, like, that's very well-rounded. But imagine another dimension, but the crossover is with Bill Cipher, right? And we learn more about the Bill Cipher, and maybe we find a way into a portal and we see all of this. Imagine that as a spin-off series. That would be insane to see, like, Bill's actual kingdom of the Nightmare Realm. Like, that would be such a cool show to watch. Maybe we can learn more about the axolotl. Or maybe that's what Book of Bill is. Like, I don't know what Book of Bill is yet. I have no idea what that is. It seems like a satanic book of some sort. So maybe it's from the Nightmare Realm. The do-over dimension can move forward normally for really long spans of time on yo-yo back and forth several times, or yo-yo back and forth several times in one day, sorry. Professional timelinologists are like weathermen who try to accurately predict what the time will be like on any given day. As the old saying here goes, 1 step forward, infinite steps back, then 2.5 steps forward for no discernible reason. That's my favorite line in this book. I don't know why, but the numbers they chose, and it's just so well done. 1 step forward, infinite steps back, then 2.5 steps forward for no discernible reason. Amazing. The main problem I can see plenty of problems with the do-over dimension. The main problem with the do-over dimension is that you remember every time you relive every section of your life. This may sound great at first. Who hasn't wanted a chance to do over some aspect of their life? But let's see how it actually plays out. Time 1. It's been 6 months since you moved into your first apartment, and things have gotten pretty messy. And now you've only got 2 hours to clean up before your new girlfriend sees the place for the first time. Result 1. She is horrified at the mess and leaves early. But time reverses. Time 2. It's been 5.5 months since you moved into your first apartment, and things have gotten pretty messy. But you've got 2 weeks to clean up and redecorate before your new girlfriend sees the place for the first time. It's a lot of work, but you make the place into a palace. Result 2. She asks you to marry her. But time reverses. Time 3. It's only been 5 months since you've moved into your first apartment. It's as messy as before, and you remember how much work it was to get in shape the last time. You're not really ready to go through all that again. You do a basic cleanup and get some new curtains. Result 3. Meh. But time reverses. Time 4. It's only been 1 day since you've moved into your first apartment. Everything is still in boxes and you don't even have a girlfriend yet. Result 4. You decide to leave everything in boxes and play video games all day. I feel like I'm constantly on time 4. I mean, good example, I guess. That's just really depressing. Yeah. You just have to get good at RNG. I think it's a skill issue, to be honest. Lottocron 9. Okay. The gambling dimension. Oh boy. It's like the mob took over the entire galaxy, except there is no mob because gambling is not only legal here, it's mandatory. We got some secret text there. Every aspect of life is left up to chance in this dimension. Unlike this dimension, babies learn to roll dice before they learn to walk, and no one over the age of 5 goes anywhere without their lucky deck of cards. Even choosing your soulmate is left to Lady Luck. Luckily, the government is effective. The Galactic Senate meets at the track every Saturday to bet on their favorite laws. Stan would have really loved this place, but it just made me depressed. Although I had a good run in the gambling dimension, the dimensional bouncers ended up kicking me out for counting cards. What are the odds? Funny. Card. Of course Ford knows how to card count. I know how to card count. I've never done it in practice, but I know how to do it. So I probably just can't go into a casino. My quest to defeat Bill led me to a strange world that I mistakenly believed to be his birthplace. The two-dimensional dimension. Whoa! This is cool. Okay, so yeah, obviously it would be his birthplace because it's a two-dimensional dimension. Wait, this might tie into what you were saying about Bill wanting to become a three-dimensional being. Remember we were talking about that with the matrices? It was a 2D to 3D transformation matrix, and people saw that video and they were like, it's insane how much of a conclusion you got from just freaking maths. But there you go, that's why maths is elite. A residential neighborhood in the 2D world, aka Xylia, as seen from above. Xylia, as in the x-axis and the y-axis. Above being a direction that they know nothing about and does not exist. This drawing approximates how my 3D body intersected with that 2D universe. Looking at this picture, you might think me a god in that world, but not so much. Funny. Okay. This is what a world of Xylia looked like to me while I was there. A, B, C, D. My 3D eyes were worthless in their 2D world. There is no sky above them and no sun to bathe them in directional light and create shadows. But here's how the Xylians would interpret the objects above. A is an upper-class circle. B, which is exactly the same, is a lowly triangle. C, which is exactly the same, is a building off in the distance. D, which is exactly the same, is a leaf 5 inches from your face. Right. I believed Bill came from a similar world that was mysteriously destroyed. But how? I didn't have much time to investigate. The Xylians considered me to be an irregular shape, which is vulgar in their society. I was unable to explain myself since my mouth was stuck inside their world, and I soon found myself under attack. Though small, the Xylians' bodies are razor sharp, and several hundred of them began slicing into my head. Luckily, I was saved by one of the most extraordinary creatures I've ever encountered. The Oracle. Whoa! Whoa! That scared me a little bit. By the way, there's binary down here. I don't know if that translates to anything. What? Okay, this is actually scaring me now. Why is there so much axolotl imagery? Is it just because I've recently talked about axolotls, so therefore I'm now seeing axolotls everywhere? Oh no! No. Axolotls are genuinely appearing everywhere. We need to go back through the series and see if we can spot some axolotls or something. What is this? Maybe this is the axolotl's avatar. Okay. Let's read this. I was suddenly sucked out of the 2D dimension and I blacked out. When I awoke, I found myself in a strange mountaintop shrine surrounded by clouds, looking up at a 7-eyed creature. What the hell does this say? Jehezel Braum, the unswerving. The unswerving. Okay. And then there's a thingy here. It doesn't say axolotl because these two are the same. Okay. Yeah, what is with the axolotls? Okay. She told me I was in dimension 52. Okay. Like playing cards. And that, or weeks in a year, and that she has been testing my wounds treating my wounds, for a long time. Strangely, she seemed to already know my name and what my mission was. That is amazing info. That's amazing info. Okay, this is going to be an important character in some way, shape, or form. I don't know how yet, but it's important. Because, let's read this again. She had been treating my wounds for a very long time. One fundamental thing about axolotls that you should know, and I know this because I was doing a little bit of research into charities of axolotl, and I was researching axolotls and stuff. Axolotls regrow their body parts, and it gives them this godlike feature, right? It's so strange, and I don't know how it works. I want to hear about the science of it. And axolotls are really strange alien creatures, but really cute, of course. And we love a good axolotl, and it's a shame that they are so endangered in the wild. But yeah, that is a fundamental part of axolotls, and definitely a big part of them we need to know. Also, the other thing about axolotls that I should probably share, and this was talked about a little bit in my premiere, is that axolotls are named after xolotls. Sorry, axolotls are named after Xolotl, I think. I don't know how you pronounce it, but I think it's a Roman god or something. Actually, this is a time where I'm going to research that, actually. I know I'm not researching a lot of things coming off this book, but I want to research this specifically because this seems important, and I want to know a lot about axolotls going into this sort of thing. Sorry, it wasn't Roman mythology, it was Aztec mythology. So in Aztec mythology, Xolotl, which I guess I'm pronouncing that right, I don't know how to read this. It was a god of fire and lightning. He was commonly depicted as a dog-headed man and was a soul guide for the dead. Why is axolotl named after Xolotl? The word axolotl comes from Xolotl. Xolotl was the god of fire and lightning as well as death. He is depicted as a wild dog. Some translations say Atl means water and Xolotl means dog, making axolotls water dogs. That's a bit of a stretch, right? Is that not? Here we go. Harvard University. Axolotl, Xolotl, and religion. No one can retell the plot of a Cortazar story. Each one consists of determined words and wait, why am I reading this? Oh, it's telling me why I'm reading this. While reading Axolotl, each word and permutation of words demands examination. It's certainly a story about a man transforming into a larval salamander. It's bound to raise questions, but the uniqueness of Axolotl goes beyond that. Even seemingly simple descriptions reveal profound analyses. I don't care about some ancient script. What? Xolotl was associated with death and the underworld. The narrator gives a nod to this relation in describing the axolotl's circumstances as a liquid hell, and that his transformation is akin to being buried alive in an axolotl condemned. The god Xolotl is noted for having no eyes, which is echoed in the descriptions of the axolotl's eyes as orifices of transparent gold. There's a lot of themes here that I'm seeing. No eyes. I mean, maybe Bill is the eye for the axolotl, you know, the avatar. I don't know why I like this avatar idea so much. Orifices of transparent gold. I mean, obviously Bill Cipher is golden colored. Orifices. I mean, Bill Cipher shifted the orifices of Preston. I have the hiccups, sorry. Preston Northwest. I don't know why it looks like I'm about to sneeze, but like, I want to make sure that I'm catching any incoming hiccups so that I don't like puke all over my... For God's sake, it just catches me so off guard. I might have to stop for a minute. Of course, as soon as I stop, I completely stop hiccuping. Anyway, the axolotl is neither human nor animal, but something more. A deity. A deity? Yeah, a deity, not a deity, a deity. So a deity, I mean, I don't know much about deities, but this is interesting. It's I guess like an angel. Or like a goddess. So yeah, a big thing I'm picking out here is this, well, liquid hell obviously is a big thing to pick out. But like, yeah, in the Aztec pantheon, Xolotl was associated with death and the underworld. And this weird thing of his transformation is akin to being buried alive in an axolotl. Like that is amazing. So is Xolotl actually the big evil in this? Or sorry, is the axolotl in Gravity Falls the big villain. I mean, potentially, maybe he is pulling the strings behind Bill's cipher, right? Like that's crazy. And if we think of it like, yeah, actually, if we think of it as Bill's cipher came from this 2D dimension, maybe the axolotl just took a random creature from one of these dimensions and made them king of the nightmare realm or whatever, and then it's the axolotl's avatar. Again, I really love this avatar idea, but I don't know if that's true. Of course, I have no idea. It is literally just making a hypothesis out of nowhere. Yeah, Dimension 52. This is looking cool, man. This is looking cool. Whether she was psychic or had just read my wanted poster is hard to say, but she had some stunning insight about Bill. She said that if I truly wanted to face him again, I would have to protect my mind, and that she could help me, but it would require putting a metal plate in my head with difficult surgery. Maybe it was the thin mountain air, but I agreed instantly. There we go. So because of the metal plate, Bill couldn't get in his mind, I believe, and so that's why he had to swap with Stan Lee in the finale. I think that's what happened at least, but I remember him mentioning the metal plate. For a week, as I recovered, we had many long conversations about Bill. Apparently, his thirst for power caused him to destroy his home dimension. Whoa, including his parents and everyone else he'd ever known. She spoke of him without anger, but with a calm, steely, clinical resolve to see his reign of terror end. She looked... I've lost my place. She looked deep into my eyes and said I had the face of a man who was destined to destroy Bill. I was so excited that we spent the entire night partying and drinking cosmic sand, the very same kind Time Baby himself consumes. When I awoke the next morning, she was gone, and I was in another dimension entirely. It was time to continue my quest. I sometimes wonder where she is now, and how she knew so much about me. Okay, notice, I'm assuming we're going to move on from her now, and we're never going to hear from her again, probably. But just notice one thing about this image. First of all, actually, no, not first of all. I'm just going to say one thing. She's wearing a hood. She's wearing a hood, and the reason that's a big thing is because you don't... The key defining feature, like defining physical feature of an axolotl are these weird tendrils. And I don't even know what they are, really. I have no idea, but like the weird tendril hair. And my theory right now is that this is actually the axolotl, and she's hiding the tendrils in her hood. And so that's why she's got loads of axolotl stuff in the background, or she's the avatar of the axolotl. Again, the avatar thing I'm really loving. It's giving me Moon Knight vibes. Also, I should probably not look this up, but I want to look it up. What is an oracle? I want to know that. I don't actually know like what an oracle is. What is an oracle? A priest or priestess acting as a medium through whom advice or prophecy was sought from the gods in classical antiquity. Okay. Or a response or message given by an oracle. Oh, okay. Wow. So the meaning of oracle is a person through whom a deity is believed to speak. Oh my god, it's all connecting. So they were saying that the axolotl or xolotl or whatever was not an animal, not a human, but somewhere in between, a deity, right? And then here we're saying an oracle is an avatar to a deity, and then we are theorizing that this is an axolotl. Like, she has tendrils or something. And so this is the avatar. Right now we are looking at like We're looking at the person with a way to communicate, or with the mind of the axolotl. Holy crap. Oh my god. I told you this episode was going to be amazing. I didn't think it would delve into this sort of stuff. I didn't think we'd be seeing the axolotl until Book of Bill again. So the axolotl has so much more meaning than we first thought. Okay. Wow. Oh boy. So that's my theory right now, is that she is in fact holding the mind of the axolotl. I guess just like how like Gideon was holding the mind of Bill Cipher in a way, or anybody else who Bill has possessed. Yeah, mad. I mean, no, Bill never actually possessed Gideon, did he? But you know what I meant. Oh, the way that Bill possessed and puppeteered Dipper, for example, is the same way that the axolotl is possessing the Oracle. Okay, so very interesting character, very interesting axolotl lore. Let's continue, man. I am so excited for what's to come. I'm assuming that's going to be it now for the axolotl stuff, though. But that was more than I could have asked. Parallel Earth dimensions. Unlike the dimensions I've already described, many dimensions in the multiverse are parallel Earths, very similar to my dimension, but with a few major differences. Q3 prophets. There are parallel Earths where dinosaurs still rule, one way or another, and ones where dolphins, rather than Homo sapiens, took over as the dominant species after the dinosaurs went extinct. These dolphin Earths invariably have the best water parks. There's a dimension where all music is just screaming, one where tennis balls chase dogs, and one where everyone is the same, except they're all babies. I didn't linger there too long. I don't care for being spit up on. Oh my god. That's funny. A better world. But after nearly 30 years of dimension hopping, I came upon a parallel Earth almost identical to our own. There was at least one crucial difference. On this Earth, I was never pushed into the portal by Stan. On this Earth, my brother listened to me and took Journal 1 away from Gravity Falls. On this Earth, I reunited with Fiddleford, and together we created a dimensional vortex neutralizer that allowed us to use the portal without any risk of connection to Bill's nightmare realm. By the time I visited this parallel Earth, my parallel self was a celebrated star of the scientific community, and my small cabin in Gravity Falls had become the sprawling International Institute of Oddology. Oh my god. That's so sad. Because, I mean, this is giving me, again, I hate referring to the MCU all the time, but this is giving me MCU vibes with the multiverse and, like, What If, for example. Like, you have infinite parallel universes where different things happen to different characters, and here Stanford is seeing a version where he wasn't pushed into the portal, and that's really effective. That's oh boy just imagine being forward in that circumstance. Like a moth to a flame, I was drawn towards the Institute. Luckily for this particular Earth, I ran into parallel Fiddleford before encountering my parallel self. He quickly recognized that I was not his Stanford Pines, and he had me detained by campus security. I put up quite a fight, but when I finally calmed down, PF explained why he was holding me captive. A few years back, he had been leading a portal expedition to a particularly dangerous dimension when one of the security office ran into his parallel self. As soon as they touched hands, the entire dimension began to warp and fizz with static. I see. Fiddleford and the rest of his team escaped back to their own dimension, but that officer was never heard from again. In fact, that whole dimension has ceased to exist. I see. As much as I might have wanted to revel in my parallel self's success, it was clear that there was literally no place for me in this dimension. Even if I could have stayed there for the rest of my days, my own conscience would not have allowed it. I still held on to the vow that I had made close to 30 years earlier to destroy Bill Cipher. When I mentioned my vendetta to PF, his knee began to bounce with agitation and excitement, the way as my own Fiddleford's knee. Although his dimension was safe from Bill, he understood the threat Cypher posed to the wider multiverse. He was anxious to help in any way he could. I showed him my unfinished quantum destabilizer, a weapon that I was designing to blast Bill into non-existence. The problem was the power source. In all my travels since leaving Jehezel Brown, which is the Oracle, I had never come across an element that had both the necessary power and the required stability. PF suggested an element that he had discovered in the paradox dimension. Oh god, the paradox dimension. It was inert when visible, but highly radioactive when hidden. That's amazing. He called it Now You See It, Now You Don'tium. A unique flair for language was something else he had in common with my Fiddleford. After just a few days of tinkering and minor adjustments to my blaster's design, the quantum destabilizer was finally finished. I was ready to face Bill. Ooh. This is cool. Anyway. Oh boy, it's these guys. Okay, it's Bill's goons. My return to the Nightmare Realm was something that I had planned in my head for so long that it was difficult to believe it was actually happening. Plus, there are dimensions where everything happens in your head, so it can get confusing. But there was no mistaking the Nightmare Realm for another dimension. The constantly shifting kaleidoscope of colour, lack of gravity, and persistent smell of burnt hair were all signs that I was in the right place. And of course, there was also the fact that Bill Cipher instantly spotted me and unleashed his goons. Although I was 30 years older than the last time I had faced these monsters, I was a fair bit more fit and agile. Also, having a death ray in my hands did have its advantages. Whoa, this is cool. Okay. Whoa, this is so cool. Oh, there's so many illustrations I want to put in the thumbnail, but I just can't. This is cool. Is this from the paradox dimension? Quadrangle of confusion. With his henchmen in disarray, I had what would probably be my only chance to attack Bill directly. Cypher sensed that for once. Momentum was not on his side, and so he retreated to something called the Quadrangle of Confusion. Okay. So this is his own... Okay, I get it. Because it's hard to reach him when things are off the walls, but they're not actually, and then... Like down here, there's a wall with a door coming out of the wall, but there's a floor from the door, but it's, yeah. Boy, I can make that into a rap. Oh my god, this is so cool! These illustrations are crazy. I love them. I just love the vibe of this whole book, and I'm imagining Book of Bill is going to be like this, tenfold. I bet you. I only had minutes till Bill's forces regrouped, and it would take me hours to untangle the unreal architecture of his fortress. Then I realized that in the Nightmare Realm you did not need to follow the rules of physics, and I lunged right at him. The moment I had worked towards and struggled for all those long years had finally come. I had Bill Cipher in my crosshairs. But at that moment the entire Nightmare Realm shook as the portal was reactivated. There was no time to question why or to curse my luck. Bill was incapacitated with laughter, but I needed to beat the rest of his hench monsters to the portal, or my home world would be invaded by Bill's forces. I ran along the length of the quadrangle, and as I approached the edge, I jumped in the air, while simultaneously tossing a concussion grenade behind me. The force of the blast catapulted me past Bill's demonic gang and through the portal. The passage between the two dimensions collapsed behind me. I re-entered the world of my youth to face a brother I had not seen in 30 years. My frustration, oh boy, my frustration was indescribable. Once again, my brother's actions had sabotaged everything I had ever worked towards. My resolve to defeat Bill has never been stronger. Nightmares and daymares. It's this scene. Last night I awoke covered in sweat, and not just because I slept in my clothes. Bill Cipher has decided to pay my mind a visit once more. Although the metal plate I got installed in my head prevents Bill from being able to access my thoughts directly, he can still haunt my dreams. Weird. Last night he appeared to me in a wheat field, cackling about the end of times and saying that I would be powerless to prevent his reign. Our family is in danger, and I have to do something about it. I have been hesitant, however, to talk to the rest of the Pines about Bill, even Dipper, who I've grown to trust. I'd like to believe that this is out of a desire to protect them, but if I'm honest, it's because I'm ashamed. What would they think of me if they knew that it was my folly, my hubris, that conjured Bill in the first place, that he tricked me into creating the portal, and that the rift is a direct physical reminder of the terrible deal I made so many years ago? Would Dipper still look up to me, or would he just consider me a fool? No, I need not tell them everything, just enough for now. In the meantime, I have sent Mabel on an errand to see if she can retrieve some unicorn hair to protect the shack from Bill's influence. It's a long shot, but it's worth a try. Oh my god. You know what? This is a good place to end, probably. We're back on like the normal route of like we're going through the season 2 episodes, and soon it's going to come to the end of the series. And look at how little we have left, right? This is going to be a 7-episode series. Next episode, next week, we are freaking finishing this book. Or not finishing it, but we are seeing the rest of it. And then afterwards, we will decode everything. And that will be Journal 3. This has been insane. This episode, like, I thought it couldn't top last episode, but oh my gosh. This page. It's going to bug me. That is going to haunt my nightmares now. And this is the perfect illustration to put here, because like it's creepy. It gets you thinking about like what actually is this, and it's unnerving. That's what it is. It's unnerving how she's just looking at you with her 7 eyes. Anyway, wasn't there something else with 7 eyes? I can't remember. Anyway, that is the end for now. I'm sure. Oh, I've just realized that he's looking to the right and he's looking at forward running away. That's funny. Yes, that is it for now. And I don't really have anything else to say. Absolutely insane episode. I will see you in the next episode next week, and we will finish this book. Very, very excited. Let me know on the live stream idea and stuff. Hopefully I can get it to work. And if I don't get it to work in the end, or if I can't find a charity that I feel is suitable, then I won't do that. But if I can't do the live stream in the end, I will just do one mega video where we decide for everything, and I'll try to make it interesting. I respect sometimes a lot of people don't like the cipher part, but I think it's what makes my channel unique and very special, so I'm going to keep doing it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Check out my Patreon and all other links in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.